Final banouts now to come. They get rid of the Bat Rider first. 30 seconds left. They'll get rid of the Night Stalker as well, just in case. So both Cuckoo heroes in the offlane, so they are seemingly believing the exact same thing you are, which is Cuckoo's pick is coming out last. Meanwhile, T1 focusing in on some mid heroes. They got rid of the Invoker. Just want to try and remove some lane dominant heroes that do well up against the Lesh. By the way, John, how long do you think it's going to take for this new patch to come out?
Tricky one to say. There's a big chance of it coming out right before playoffs, so maybe tomorrow, Tuesday night. I read around Tuesday night or Thursday nights are when Valve releases a patch. So it's either right before our playoffs or towards the middle of the playoffs, potentially, for that patch. Gonna be an interesting time. Before playoffs is probably ideal, but I think you're going to be screwed over either way if you're the teams. You're just going to have to scramble, maybe play what you're playing now and hope for the best, or adjust on the fly. It's a tricky time. I think the best time is going to be miss that mid-December launch date. Aim for a Christmas time release, literally 25th, 24th, or 26th. Get people to adjust before New Year, before DPC. Heck, with DPC so close, you reckon they might just push it back till really close to that? I don't know.
Well, they
it's
said
such an awkward schedule. I think it's an awkward time for mid-December. If they're worried about tournaments, although to be fair, that hasn't been a major concern for Valve dropping a patch anyway.
No.
So there's a possibility our playoffs just get completely wacky, which would be fun.
Well, Puck comes out for Execration now, so a nice way to lock everyone down. To allow Yoe to just hit people with his huge sword. T1, final pickup for them. Looks to be a Cuckoo hero we're expecting. What does he want? I mean, he's got the LC there if he wants to run LC again, but it doesn't really do much in this draft.
No. The Purge is nice for, say, a Shackle or for a Spear, but you probably could just get different heroes for that. Maybe... You could try going for a team fighter. Tide, although we haven't seen Cuckoo play too much Tide for the past. I'd say something left field. Brewmaster would be nice. You know, get the Panda, just keep the Sven flying up in the air when he got strength. That could be something, but we haven't seen the Panda out in a long, long time, Brewmaster, so I don't think that's going to be the last pick for T1, but it would be nice. I think that's just one way to deal with a Sven. The miss chance is something Sven doesn't enjoy as well. Could be annoying. They go to Doom instead on the offlane, so it does look like we're seeing support Slardar. No, Cuckoo Slardar. Support Doom? No, it's support Lesh. Carl Doom mid.
Yeah, I think that's the way they're going. Yeah, they might just run the mid Doom and run the position 4 Leshrac, so you have the double stun kind of duo in the offlane there with Cuckoo and Zephyr. They still haven't picked him up yet though, so they are waiting. Just a little bit, maybe discussing whether they want the mid Lesh or whether they want the mid Doom. They are going to have the mid Doom though.
Alright. It's a bit of a strange one, but not the strangest draft overall. There are ways to make this work. Zephyr has played the 4 Lesh before, so this is something he's comfy with. The triple stun actually in the offlane is going to be really interesting. Bash of the Deep into Crush into the Split Earth can be nice if you can land it. So there's a lot of pressure here on Yoe to maintain his lane and avoid that. We'll have to see just how far he can get there. Carl mid up against the Puck. So you're talking about a melee hero up against Puck. Never fun, but the Doom does kind of just get steady farm. Once you've got Scorched Earth up as well, you should be able to sustain the lane for the most part. Carl's going to have to play efficiently with his jungle camp access, which you can kind of get nicely on the right side of the Dar River, so should be decent enough for Carl to grab some creeps in between waves and kind of build up that way. I'd say with this kind of draft, you are looking for T1 to play a bit faster. They've got this Leshrac. They need to find these early objectives with the Diabolic Edict that could come out, and they would love to maximize the early Dooms as it's available. Execration, it's your standard Sven game. Yoa just needs to farm up, maybe get some stacks. Rupida, gonna be a key part once more. Arenas into the spear gonna be really important. We'll also have to see Ken active on the puck a lot around the same time as Rupido would be. And this time around for BDZ, Javelin timing going to be really key for him to get some damage out. So those are all the things Execration has to watch out for. For T1, EXP and playing around the Edict and the Doom and melt some early objectives.
Absolutely. We'll go into game number 2. See if Execration can force out a 2-0 victory for themselves, or whether T1 can force out a draw here. Again, this series doesn't really mean much for T1. They are already kind of set in stone in their position for the group stage. And here we go again between these two.
A hot RP, Cuckoo said, and Longa Dog is like just Longanisa dog, I guess, like a food, or just making fun of the playing with the word dog. RP, hot RP. BD's like, BDZ is being humble. He said that was just a lucky round with the RPs. And Cuckoo's actually asking, was it warded up there? And they're like, no wards. Cuckoo's like, oh, inbounds, yeah. And he can't believe it. Cuckoo's like, nah, there was a ward. He can't believe it. And BD's just like, nah, there wasn't a ward.
There actually wasn't, which is quite impressive, right? BDZ literally just blinks onto I believe it was this staircase right here. No wards, he just blinks up, gets 3 in the RP, and
Cuckoo!
What did
He's
he say?
making some jokes. BDZ is saying, hey, can I get a Christmas gift? Can I get, a little Christmas from him? And Cuckoo's like, well, how much? Ooh. Come on, boys.
Yeah, not
BDZ's like, yeah, that's it, I'm done.
Jesus.
He's just gonna PM it because too many people are watching. Oh, BDZ, shush.
Oh goodness me. You're gonna get the chat spamming things like Mafia again. This is not gonna be fun.
Oh my goodness.
What are you doing? What are you doing to our mods, Cuckoo? It's enough, sir.
Making them work. That's what it is. Cuckoo keeps targeting BDZ. Gee, Wind Ranger. All right, Cuckoo. All right.
I mean, speaking of the Wind Ranger, do you feel confident about the pos for Wind Ranger? Like, we do see it here and there, but it has had very mixed results. You think BDZ makes it look good this game?
I'd say it hangs on how fast he gets a Javelin in this lane with Rupido. You do have some really good combos, so Shackle into Spear or vice versa, because the Spear does work well with trees, so you can just follow up with a Shackle and get some good chain stuns off. Biggest issue here for Execration is that with a Wind Ranger support, you are looking at more of maybe a mix of damage and utility. Most certainly damage is the one you find early on with Wind Ranger, which is a bit of a shakeup. BDZ tends to play supports that are more about utility, more about control. So we're going to have to see if he can get the same effect with Wind Ranger. I'd say he does have a harder time here. There are very tanky targets on T1. So if he doesn't find a Javelin, then you're probably not going to be finding these early pickoffs with a hero.
Zephyr gonna run into BDZ. Now RR's gonna show up. One's gonna be around to help out. Rupido gonna go for a God's Rebuke, and we'll be able to take the bounty. He's gonna take a bit of harassment on his way out, but not too much. Gonna be just fine. And Zephyr, I was about to ask, is he gonna leave the lane? And of course he is. He will TP down towards the bot lane, where he will lane with Cuckoo. And speaking of this lane, John, it is a fairly dangerous lane for Execration to lane into. I feel like if you do land the Crush, or even just the Bash into the Split Earth, it can be a substantial amount of damage you have to take.
It really will be. It's going to be a while until RR can safely save Yoe. So we're talking about level 2, level 3 for our Omni Knight. And as a support, that EXP gain tends to be a bit slow. So Yoa is going to have to watch his spacing there. Should give Cuckoo and Zephyr a lot more presence, but they go in.
Well, they go in already, it seems. I mean, top lane, I was looking at the Wind Ranger and Whitemon dropping very low, but this bot lane also getting a bit of action, it seems. Even the mid lane, in fact, Ken taking a bit of damage here from Carl, but Carl is taking a lot more. In fact, Ken has an orb up in a second. He may throw it out here. No, he won't opt for it. He'll hold out for now. Very low heroes across the map, even RR dropping low while I was looking at that. It's like we could have first blood at any moment.
It's right on the edge again, kind of reminiscent of game one. Both sides just playing as far possible as they can. We'll see if anyone does misstep. Of course, in that top lane, talked about it a bit, but BDZ trading with Whitemon not the most fun until you get a value point in Windrun. But that might be well for BDZ. Whitemon just enjoying the trades, as he is a very annoying Enchantress. But overall, rather even in terms of last hit. So far, no one really pulling too far behind or too far ahead. And both sides are just really wasting each other's regen. It's all about the small economy game from trading those early regen items out, and both teams are keeping that fairly even across the board.
Well, bot lane, Cuckoo going at it again with Zephyr. Yoe is the unfortunate victim of that exchange, but it's going to be alright. It's like mid, Carl has regen dump with a salve. Ken's still looking to pump out as much harassment as possible. And unfortunately for Carl, he has not gotten lucky with one of those Ice Golem creeps, so he doesn't get that bonus armor that he would love right now up against this puck. He has got the mana drain, which is something you don't really want, as top lane BDZ is actually going to claim the first blood onto Whitemon's life. Just nice power shot into a few hits, just got the kill.
It does cost BDZ a lot of regen in this lane, though.
Oh, Carl.
So BDZ's out of tangos.
Carl's going to be careful. Carl's been on very low HP many times now. Ken's got an orb available. He's waiting for the right moment. Carl, oh, the silence does not connect. So Carl will be okay. He's going to walk up again, going for the creep, but is going to miss out. Looks like Ken will wait another day to try and go after the life of Carl.
Yeah, but this lane was always going to be a bit tough for the Doom. It's just melee against Puck. Puck has good right click, and you just don't really win out too easy.
Oh, Whitemon again dropping on the Enchantress. Mars able to pick it up this time around. And this lane is proven to be a lot harder for Whitemon than I first anticipated. Apparently the Wind Ranger and the Mars, something to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really playing around the enchant creeps or any sort of potential from that. Whitemon is just trying to play the zoning game. And earlier on, it was fine, but now that BDZ has level 3, it does have the value point in the Wooden Run, it is riskier to kind of play that way. They do have this doubled slow from T1. Again, they just don't have the opportunity or the damage to really zone either one out. And the deaths from Whitemon does mean Jackie gets to farm a lot. He is full HP, out of regen, but not under any threat. You do have to be cautious about how fast of a start you give BDZ. We've seen him do this before. If he's allowed to just build up on this Wind Ranger, it's almost the same effect as Rubik if that javelin comes out fast.
So much damage with that Diabolic Edict, and he is still going down. Yoe going to try and turn around onto Cuckoo, but Cuckoo had the Fairy Fire. We'll be able to get the kill onto Yoe and RR. It's a very nice couple of kills there on the bot lane.
Yeah, it's all down to that power spike on these two heroes. Level 4 up. They've got the Slitherin Crush along the level 2 Bash. Level 2 Split Earth coming out here as well, although BDZ is going to intercept.
That he is. The Diabolic Edict still going to be a big problem for him. Cuckoo now thinking about going for something, but he does get shackled up. They shouldn't really have enough damage, but Yoe is also going to show up from the side, and he does secure the kill. Nice rotation from BDZ.
Yeah, he's been working this map real well. That does give them a little bit of a gold injection after those 2 losses down bot, so Yoe is going to be really happy about those pickups. Still not too bad for T1. They are lagging slightly behind in farm. I think the one lane they really need to relieve is this Doom lane just a tad, and BDZ is here to pressure.
Well, Carl is going to be in definite trouble. Shackles not going to latch on, but they have the Dream Coil there, and they should have the damage output. He'll try to Fairy Fire up, but Ken is able to take the kill on the puck. RR will even come in and give him a bit of a free reset, in terms of HP anyway. It's going to make it a 4-2 now for Execration. The Whitemon does come in and get a nice Invis rune for himself, but that's pretty much going to be it. It's like he is even checking to see if there's a bounty around, maybe some stacks. Yeah, won't really get much out of this though. BDZ is going to be fine to just walk away.
It's been a slower start for Whitemon, but we are seeing his disruptive play come in, taking some big creeps out, clearing some camps in the downtime. Jackie is just allowed to be alone.
Yoe's in trouble again, but looks like the purification is going to come out, and well, they couldn't quite follow up all the way with that Diabolic Edict. They might look to go back in soon, as Cuckoo has primed the bash. Looks like they are not going to be willing to dive the tier 1 tower, though. Zephyr is going to try and pull the creep wave away, but actually leaves it behind. It's going to meet up their way anyway. Yoe might get one deny from that creep wave.
It's a solid start so far. The one difference here is that T1, they've been able to leave Jackie alone for the most part. Whitemon's presence hasn't affected that lane, but our lifestealer is still #1 in terms of last hits. So it's been a really good time here for T1 in their safe lane. You're not falling too far behind for Yoe as well. It's a Sven, it's clearing out the waves. He has died one time, but it's not the biggest loss. They do need to perhaps work on some stacks. Yoe is starting to clear a couple of them out, but he's going to need a lot more to get that gold injection once his Mask of Madness is up.
That he will. Looks like Whitemon still just chilling out, farming some neutral stacks in the Radiant Triangle. Everything pretty quiet on T1's end. In all fairness, Jackie has been farming very nicely on this lifestealer, just about 200 gold ahead of the Sven.
Where are you going?
Bit of an enchant there from Whitemon onto the Mars. Rupido is he looking for a fight? Not quite. He's going to hold on to the arena for later on. No real rush for him. Definitely a bit of a lull period here, though, between these two teams. No one really wanting to get involved too early now. Everyone seemingly very satisfied with just getting some farm up.
Yeah, I think there's some antsiness about getting off of first Doom here, or some arenas to follow up from Rupido, but otherwise, no real opportunities. A lot of big tanky heroes for them to have to contend with. I mean, the laning of Rupido, again, even if you throw the arena out, the lifestealer is just naturally going to walk out, perhaps down bot.
They're going to try. Orb forward. Ken does land the Dream Coil onto the Slardar. Storm Hammer going to be there. Yoe, he'll pop the God Strength, but he's going to have to run now as the TP rotations do come in. Carl looking for a Doom out. Ken keeps juking him out mid-animation. Ken's going to be okay. Looks like everyone else got out safely from Execration's end. That's going to be a bit of wasted time and not just wasted TPs as well for T1.
Yeah, they could go for the push now as Execration are lining up for the top tier 1 as well. So it should be a straight 1-for-1 trade. Of course, this is faster for T1. They've got level 3 Diabolic Edict and Zephyr. Tower should just melt.
Oh, Zephyr is very deep in the tree line there. He'll go for a split earth, but now Arena going to be dropped as well. Jackie is going to be able to rage out, but they do kill off the Leshrac. Into Cuckoo they go. Carl still looking for that Doom, but a massive God's Rebuke coming out. The Doom is going to be there now. The Puck in trouble. Cuckoo will dive underneath the tier 1 tower. A nice spear to hold down Jackie, but Cuckoo does eventually kill off Ken. Into Rupido, they kill him off. And now BDZ is trying to run. A nice shackles out from the Wind Ranger. He's going to be okay, and it looks like they'll also get RR out. And now the race is on for some bounty runes. BDZ going to race Carl then. So Carl has no chance in hell of getting them. BDZ is going to be able to pick up both. And, well, the top lane, Cuckoo managed to get one, but RR got the other. So it is going to be a 3-for-1 trade on the bounties as BDZ does end up eventually dying for his trouble.
It's a lot of back and forth all of a sudden. 5-5 now on the kill board. Less than 1k lead coming out from T1. Big difference right now is that Jackie again has been given a little bit more space. Yoe should be able to start to overtake though. Mask of Madness up, has some ancient stacks to clear out. If no contest comes out from T1, it's going to be a nice injection for the Sven. Still, T1 understanding they've got this power spike, they've got the Leshrac with early Diabolic Edict. They will look for more towers, and the mid-tier one's a juicy one.
Yeah, Dream Coil mid lane catching out too. This will be a nice couple pickups if they can get it. Rupido getting a nice spear off onto the Doom. Cuckoo trying to crush them up. He will kill off BDZ, and Carl is still running away from Ken. Cuckoo meanwhile trying to fight this one out in the mid lane. Misses that crush, but it's still alive as Jackie comes in with the open wounds. But Rupido does kill off Slardar. The Guardian Angel is out as well, and that should be it. So Zephyr is looking to still go with the Split Earth, but he is very low in terms of HP and mana. They do get the mask, but they'll lose the Leshrac onto Ken. Ken is just going to run away. They do get the T1 mid tower. So overall, not too bad for T1. A 2-for-2 trade as well. I think overall they'll be pretty happy with that.
Definitely, it's a pretty massive win. This will allow them to invade the triangle a bit as well, prevent some stacks from being built up down the line for Execration. T1 might have been happy enough with grabbing a couple of kills. I think losing Rupido will offset your blink timing though, and that's really important. We need Morris to be up in front, backing up this puck, getting the arena soft down deep, and that just means it's going to be a little bit longer until you'll see that blink on Rupido. Gonna have to see if they can get that recovery. Still T1 playing this offensive game on the objectives. Top tier 1's already very low as well. 54 HP should be a deny for Execration, but the map control loss is gonna be rough.
Power shot almost landing there from BDZ, but Jackie very quick reactions with the rage. And the infest out as well, just to make sure he gets himself away from these crazy people. Just go down the river a bit, see what's going on there. How's Yoe farming? On top of the net worth, has been kind of juggling it there with Jackie. It still does concern me, if you are a fan of T1, that Yoe not only has kept up in net worth, but is constantly overtaking Jackie on the lifestealer. This Sven is still going to be a pretty big problem as time goes on.
It will be. I think the one concern for Execration's end, though, is that the lead that Yoe has is not as big. His jungle's already been invaded as well. You can just see all the wards coming in here from T1 to keep the bot jungle and the triangle kind of locked in. So Execration always runs the risk of being jumped while they farm in this area. T1 just needs to make use of that information down the line. Looks like they're waiting for blinks to come in on their end. Carl, just about 200 gold off from his. So once you have this blink in the Doom, you can be able to initiate, get a good Doom off, start to lock in, get yourself a numbers advantage in these fights, and build off from there. Execration, the blink for Rupido is still a ways off, but you have this blink in Ken. So you also have this way of jumping in on Execrations and forcing out these fights. They just need to kind of clump up. They're not looking forward to that though. They do want to play this long game. They do want to just build up for now and take it steady.
Carl gonna run into BDZ. Win run away. Carl not too happy about that from BDZ. Bot lane. Ken. Gonna show himself to Jackie in the tree line, but Jackie doesn't really care for the puck right now. Just gonna leave him be. He's gonna continue creep skipping to not allow them to get pressure onto that tier 2 tower.
Should look to their top tower.
Might be a bit of a smoke up here. T1 do indeed smoke up. No vision out from the raid. Oh, there was an obs. All right, well they have been scouted out. However, they still jump in onto BDZ. He did get the wind run off, but it just doesn't matter. He's gonna die. Just a Wind Ranger kill, however, not too big of a deal for the side of Execration. They may be able to go for a bit more. Or maybe not, T1. Could they try for the Roshan? No, it seems like they will not.
It's a freebie pickup, not the biggest kill, but it does give T1 a clear net worth lead now. Haven't really revealed anything big. They didn't use any big spell. The blink might have been spotted out in Carl, but they haven't really been able to do that as well. And they do know the blink's up on Ken as he does reveal it in lane. So options are shown. Just need to get these spells out. Both sides looking to really want that. I think more pressure on T1 to use the Doom, as while it's sitting, you're not really gaining too much. You would want to just try to get an easy pick off. Maybe they try to go for a smoke again. I believe smoke is coming out for Whitemon if they wanted to. So they're going to have another option to jump in. Just have to be cautious about these wards. Execration have been putting them in the right spots to watch the movement come out here.
They are. Very wouldn't say a very quiet game between these two, but it's much more quiet than last game, that's for sure. So both teams respecting each other's potential. We're trying for that blink again, not opting for the Aghanim Scepter. Doesn't feel like he needs it. Jackie is trying to get a Haven's Halberd up. Trying to get the disarm off on the Sven, and in all fairness, without a BKB, it's probably not going to be able to deal too well with that Halberd once it is up on Jackie.
Yeah, it's not going to be the longest control as well because of the presence of Omni Knight. So the Heavenly Grace is going to mitigate a lot of that. I think you've got to be really aware when you go for that item on against the Sven with the Omni. It's still good, but you have to know that your window is much tighter up against that Sven because of the Omni Knight. So T1 might want to aim down RR before anything else if these fights do break out. When they break out, it does look like Execration has clumped up for a smoke. This one was not spotted, so we'll see what they can get.
That it was not. They're going to go into Cuckoo. Arena drop. They'll go with the Stormhammer first. Into the Spear. But here comes Jackie with Cuckoo. Can they get the job done? Well, Cuckoo's already dead. Can Dream caught up? Is being left behind. Although, no, it does wear off. And now they can kill off this Sven. With the Doom there, Yoe does go down. Rupiro. He's not going to be fine. The Hoof Stomp is going to come out from Carl. Still Ken. Does kill off Whitemon. Jackie probably wants to leave now. His rage is over. Carl doesn't really have an easy way out. Jackie's still trying to fight, and Zephyr will show back up. They'll go after Ken. The spear is going to be there once again from the Mars, though, to make things very, very difficult. So Jackie now backing back off. Zephyr, he'll go after BDZ instead, but BDZ surviving through the Pulse Nova is now going to be able to come back in, and with his teammates, they should kill Zephyr. He needs a couple more hits on BDZ, but he can't quite get there in time, and looks like he is going to accept the fact that he is dead. Still going after BDZ, but he is being kited. The BDZ will walk away scot-free.
A rather interesting back and forth there. T1, after finding that one kill on the Sven, fall a bit flat chasing around. Feels like they do lack damage. It's outside of Doom right now. And they're going to need perhaps a blink up in Cuckoo to help him gap close as well on top of it once they get this chase going around. So blink can be up in Cuckoo in a bit. That should fix a couple of their issues here. Execration for their part, you did lose Yoe. He does drop behind in terms of farm, but this is still a Sven. This is still going to be relatively quick farm once he goes back in the jungle, which he does. The wards are starting to fade from T1. They haven't replanted them in the triangle, so it's a lot safer now for Yoe to just focus in, get that gold base built up. Has been swapping around his items queued up as well, but looks like he will go for the BKB, knowing that the control here from T1 is a bit too big. So that should help the cause. That blink is up in Cuckoo though, and they might look to make something happen with it.
I think the BKB is a pretty smart decision to make here for Yoe. Bit too much going on from T1 to not pick up a BKB. Still very relaxed on these two teams. You look at Zephyr, he's getting he's going for that Aghanim Scepter on the Leshrac. Jackie's got the AC queued up, very standard stuff. Bounty Rune's going to be mostly picked up again by Execration. They're going to find a 3-for-1. T1, they have their eyes set on this Roshan, but they haven't really found a good opening for it as they're not completely winning out these team fights.
They found a top tier one, but that's a pretty dead lane. They actually did lose all bounties as well, so a lot more gold. I mean, just complete control right now from Execration over those map objectives. Cuckoo's just constantly baiting out the Roche with the haze, but they need to commit. This downtime where you let Execration farm, you are giving so much potential for Yoe to just pull ahead. This is a Sven you're kind of trying to wage a farm war on, and it doesn't really pay off. I mean, you are still slightly ahead in Jackie. It's not a massive lead. Yoe would like to be in the lead, and if you let him do this, he will be in the lead at some point. BKB gold just about finished up here, almost. Maybe about, yeah, no, it's all done on Yoe, so he's got space to stand in front of these fights. If you don't doom the Sven, he will have complete control, so Carl's got to be on point with the Doom now. Of course, if you do Doom the Sven, you run the risk of having Ken really start to run around. And speaking of Ken, his Ags is almost done, so we'll have to see what the timings line up to. There is that smoke on T1 though.
There is. They're going to try and reinvade this Radiant Triangle. They will run into RR. A very nice, easy kill. With that Omni dead, they may make the rush to the Roshan pit. I still don't think it's going to be that easy for them, even with the Omni gone. T1, I mean, they'll get started. But Execration, they are starting to posture around the pit. Got plenty of ways to give vision with that power shot and the spear. 5 seconds for that Omni to be back up. Power shot getting more vision. Now they're looking to go in. Yoe is there with the arena drop. Jackie Aegis is picked up by the Life Stealer. And Yoe in a very awkward predicament. Or maybe not. Rupido is holding them back. He's got the stun out on Jackie. But they'll lose Ken. They'll lose BDZ. And they'll lose the Mars as well. So the Roshan fight does work out in T1's favor as they go for a bit more. Cuckoo is there with the bash to the deeps, and RR, he just respawned, but he is also going to die. A 4-for-0 trade, and Jackie does manage to hold on to the Aegis.
It's a really big win for T1, blowing this game open. 5k lead picked up by them, and Execration, it looked like they had a good angle. They couldn't follow up on the arena. They couldn't get the cap closing there on their Sven, so they're going to lose out on some objectives. This is, again, where T1 shines well. They can melt these towers fast, especially once Zephyr makes his way down. Tier 2 mid can be fortified, but it's not a healthy point. They will try to clear out, though, but one more right click from Jackie should get that done.
He gets it done eventually.
They can set their sights down to the other Tier 2s as well. Execration can look to play. Arena is going to be back up soon. But they'll have to be aware of these item spikes in T1. Ags up and Zephyr means that more presence on him when he does turn on the Pulse Nova.
Rupido going to come in now. Spear is there on the arena. Jackie going to help out and keeping alive with the Infest. Now the Mars in trouble. Will go down to Jackie. And here comes Cuckoo with a double stun out. BDZ and RR both caught. They're going to try and run. But another stun coming out from Carl onto BDZ with the pump fakes there. And they'll get the kill as Carl will give the tip over to BDZ. And now T1, they're looking for the high ground.
It just melts. Diabolic Edict up at max. Even with just a couple of creeps, not going to be able to defend these racks. They do have God Strength and Yoe, but he is just busy farming top. He knows that they can't really take the fight without Arena up soon. They're just going to have to concede at least one set of racks. Fortunately, Tier 2 still stand. So T1 will have to go back for those first before going for further high ground wins, and that is enough time to get some respawns going here for Execration.
That it is. Well, the bot Tier 2 going to be targeted now by the side of T1. Ken trying to creep skip while all this is happening. Going to buy more time and space for his team. Tier 2 is gone, and they do have a few creeps around, so they can try to make the next high ground play. Looks like they do not want to go too far. They're going to back out. Of course, they did spot out Ken, who was skipping that last wave. Instead, they are going to make the run up towards Rupido on the Mars. Going to try for the TP. Cuckoo, could he find him in time? Not quite. They'll get a bounty, though. Not too bad.
Yeah, a good amount of gold now bouncing towards T1. Compensate for last one, although.
Well, Zephyr caught out by the smoke. He's going to die to Execration. He's completely surrounded there. Of course, Execration would have liked a bigger target than that, but sometimes you just have to settle for what you get. They are picking up the T1 tower. I suppose it is about that time to go after that mid-tier 1. We're 25 minutes in. Yoa will get started, but Jackie does not want to let it go down. They'll move back in, open wounds out. They want to try on the Sven. Meanwhile, in the back, they have got Carl in the shackles. Yoa still fighting Jackie, almost gets him as well, but Jackie, he's healing up with the help of Carl and Cuckoo. He will not die. Now onto the Mars as well, just chasing him down the river. Cuckoo would love for his teammates to move over right now. He's the fastest man on the river. But it looks like they will eventually be able to catch up as the clumsy net does come out from Carl. Rupido is kind of a sitting duck. Heavenly Grace will help out a bit, but he cannot get out. Or maybe he can with the Glimmer Cape. He's trying to juke away. He does blink. And looks like he is actually going to be fine, as RR will trade his own life away to help out his teammate.
And that's another big set of wins for T1. Getting the right Doom target on top. The Sven, even with a BKB, if you do get Doom, doesn't really do much for you. So you've got to be cautious about that spacing. Set of racks down bot's going to go. Top racks are still protected by the tier 2. But T1 could just look to go for the juggler if they want to feel adventurous. Looks like they will play safe. They're going to have to wait for the next Doom to be up anyway, which is about a minute and a half. And they are up by a whole bunch now. 12k lead for T1. Execration still really starting to lag behind. Yoa not having as much impact here. Does have his blink up in the Sven, so perhaps he can start finding the angles here. But I think this time around, the avoidance of the axe is starting to cost him a bit. The Stormhammer is just a really strong way of jumping in for the Sven. There are so many ways for T1 to cancel off these blinks as well. We'll have to see just how well it pays off for Yoa.
Well, that we will. Ken, again, creep skipping is going to be able to just TP on the tree line. Just going to be perfectly fine. The Ags up now on Cuckoo, going to make it that much harder to deal with his Slardar. Yoe really hasn't had the most impact this game. He's been trying, but he has really been struggling with just being able to hit people in these team fights. It feels like there's always something flying at him, as Cuckoo now going to come in with a big stun out, and Jackie pops out onto Yoe once again. He's trying to go onto Carl, but look at the damage coming out from Jackie. He just can't quite finish him off. RR is going to be the first casualty on the side of Execration. Now BD's going to be chased down, but the clumsy net is going to be out, and Carl will give him another tip as they do burst him down. They seem to know where the Mars went, but Rupido will be able to just get himself out. And Zephyr? Well, Yoe is actually chasing him at the moment, but Zephyr's taking them out. Ken will finally take him down. But that was a very close call for both these two. They might have actually tied had the Leshrac had a bit more HP.
Yeah, that's a scary spot when the Pause 4 Lesh can actually do that much by himself. Have to really watch your spacing here from Execration now. They are just trying to cut the waves, although... Yikes.
Oh. I didn't quite spot that one, John, but Cuckoo and Jackie just killing off Yoe on their own. Looks like Cuckoo just TP'd up to the top tier 2 tower.
Yeah, it's the gank train. This is when it gets ridiculous with the Ags up in your Slardar. They're all over the map, getting some hits off. And Execration, again, the map's just so small. They need to find a way of bouncing back with Yoe. He is gone for a very long time. They're losing the rewards in their triangle. There's just no safe spot. T1's all over the place, clearing out these camps, widening that lead. Execration just need a really good defense in the high ground. They've got the Puck, they've got the Dream Coil, they've got Arena, they've got Guardian Angel. If they can find the right opening, it could still be big.
Could be, but Cuckoo in the backlines once again does catch out RR. Looks like the Heavenly Grace is going to be just enough to get him out. Jackie not going to stick around too long for that tier 2 tower. They are lacking a bit of a creep wave. They'll go back for some bounty runes. That'll be 4 bounty runes going the way of T1 this time around. It's going to be a lot of gold going the Dire's way as Cuckoo looking to jump in again. Does find the Mars and looks to burst him down. Ooh. However, a big stun out. A lot of cleave coming out. Yoe, he'll find Carl, but that's all he finds for now as the Guardian Angel does come in. Rupido did fight back. They will also kill off Cuckoo, but Yoe has already died. They have no damage without that spend. Ken's going to try and jump in on the Puck, but it's just not going to be enough. He is being ignored. And we do actually have a DC on Jackie in the middle of all this. But this team fight is all but over, it looks like. I imagine T1 should just... Cuckoo.
Having a laugh about his teammate.
Well, I mean, you know, they've basically won the team fight. They've already found the Mars. They found the Sven. Yoe could buy back here, but it looks like they're about to lose RR. And, well, Ken might find his way out of this one. But it is going to be a 3 for 2. Could mean that they just rotate back towards the top lane, maybe find that tier 2 tower. And eventually, once they have their teammates back, start setting up to go for that high ground push up at that top lane.
Yeah, gonna be a smooth swing around for T1 once they get that done. Buyback for Yoa is not gonna do much, not without that God Strength. So I think he's just gonna have to hold on. There's not much Execration can do in this case, especially not with the arena as well. Like just losing that kit, having that dieback on your Mars hurts you a ton more. So defensive tools for Execration starting to run out here. You would want to save Ken at the least. He needs to get out of there as the Dream Coil is going to be up in about half a minute. So that's a fairly low cooldown for him. Would want to have that up as one of your only tools remaining for the next team fight, if there is still one to come out. I have to say I'm a bit surprised with the progress here in Execration. Like we were talking about BDZ's timings of the Wind Ranger having to be on point. He has never had the space to get a Javelin. He went for this Urn build with a Blink. And the Urn is nice. It hasn't really secured him as much. The Spirit Vessel upgrade still a few ways off. And because you don't go for Javelin, well, BDZ just doesn't have as much damage. Does have good control with Shackles. But for the most part, we've been seeing single hero Shackles so far. T1's not been punished for clumping up too much with double hero Shackles. So it's been a slower game for BDZ as well. In stark contrast to how that first game went with his Rubik. The Wind Ranger just hasn't been delivering the goods here, Mike.
No, it has not. That's kind of what I was questioning earlier on, is whether this Wind Ranger was going to get much done. But in the early game was really good for BDZ, but the hero is kind of just garbage as a support once you go into the later stages of the game. Well, hopefully it won't take too much longer for Jackie to get back into the game, though. Again, I understand these players having disconnections like this, John. I've been experiencing some things during Tide. It's been a very rough time in terms of optimization.
Yeah.
Very, very rough.
It is. Hopefully our savior if a patch comes through, Mike, but I wouldn't know. Beta game. It's a beta game. I'm not sure what everyone's complaining about.
That's
This is
true.
a work in progress, ladies and gentlemen.
It is.
Not done yet.
Not done. But I don't even care about the patch changes, if I'm honest, John. I just want my frames back. That's all I want. I don't care for the changes anymore. It's fine. Just give me the frames back. That's all I want.
Valve says no. No. Valve says no. Source needs those frames, Mike. You don't. Source needs them for some reason. Why not? There
Well,
you go.
we have the
Jackie's got
reconnection.
his frames back.
Good on him. Cuckoo will give the go when ready. And Execration. Looks like they're ready to go. RR does indeed die. Now BDZ going to be in danger. Will also go down. And Ken is the only one to get himself out. And T1, they do have an opportunity to try and force some buybacks out. Carl will continue giving tips out, this time to Ken. Ken going to stick around, but now will throw the orb towards the north. And Jackie and Zephyr, they don't really care for the puck. They'll let him keep creep skipping. They've got plenty of creeps from the other lanes coming in anyway. They just want to go for the next high ground. That they will. It will be forced. Again, trying to drag them back in. Jackie doesn't really have an Abyssal Blade yet to lock him down. He does have a Basher, but he has to hope for the lucky Bashers to come through, and they did not that time around. That'll be enough. They force out the Glyph, and they back off.
Yeah, it's going to be a steady siege up now with no outer towers left. 20k lead up on T1. Next Roche can be relatively quick, 40 seconds left. So T1 could just opt for that. They have sent some creeps in to watch. They've got the Ags up under Doom. That Abyssal you mentioned is completed on Jackie. So you can't just jump in, get control in these fights. and really start to really even more of a control lead here for T1. Execration up against the wall now. They do have God Strength up soon. Perhaps they start to make a play. They are smoked up, just not quite meeting the timing for the Roche timer, so might miss out on an opportunity here as T1 is just waiting for this objective to be up.
The smoke up. Roshan, 5 seconds away, but they're going to run straight into BDZ again, and that Wind Ranger just pops. Wasn't even close. Is Cuckoo going to look for a bit more now? Doesn't have the blink up, but it won't matter. If they do check that Roche, they'll see a fresh Roshan. It looks like Whitemon already has a creep watching out for it. That's exactly where they intend to go, and well, BDZ, he might feel forced to buy back if they are going to go for a team fight. But Execration, they may just opt not to, as they are so far behind in net worth. I don't think they'd really make it in time anyway. There it goes.
Melts.
Roshan's down. They were chasing Carl that whole time. Carl was just fine to walk away.
Yeah, our Doom is fairly speedy now as well, as long as the Scorched Earth's up, so a bit of a harder here to lock in. Another pause coming out from T1. Thumbs up coming up from Carl, and Zephyr says, "Gee, sorry." So a bit of a mistake.
Well, they are lacking creeps of that top lane, but they... Jackie's internet. It's always Jackie's fault.
Oh?
They jump in from the backside. Looks like Yoe is going straight after Carl. Does kill off the Doom. Rupido is about to drop as well, though, and they also found RR. Yoe still trying to go after Whitemon. He's going to be spotted out. Ken still moving forward. Cuckoo is there with Jackie. There goes BDZ, and they just need to escape. Buybacks are coming in from Execration, but do they have enough to fight back? Jackie is onto Yoe. He has no way of removing himself, and look at the damage out. Just way too high. RR, he's gone as well. There's actually so much damage coming up from Whitemon with these impetus, and yeah, they just call it. GG is called. That'll mean a draw for this second series of the day between T1 and Execration. And that means we get to move on to our third series, John.
Yeah, it was a lot closer for T1 and Execration in the second game. Overall, the series were fairly tight. T1 coming out better in this game, though, really bullying it out. I think a lot of that boils back to the hero choices here. BDZ just could not get as much work done with Wind Ranger. You also didn't have many windows for Rupido to maximize his Mars without that backup, so it did fall a bit flat. Really heads-up play from T1 drafting around like this, making it work, and do keep things sprightly for them as they do end their group stage run.
With that, John, oh, excuse me, I forgot to bring up the scoreboard. With that, we are going to move on to our third series of the night. It is going to be, I believe, if I remember correctly, between TNC and Neon. So we do have the good old-fashioned online Rambulan, John, coming up.
Oh, yes.
Which means we can roll some more R's now that we've lost one. We've lost Rupido, but we are going to get the Rambulan coming up. So that should be a lot of fun. It's MLP johnxfire. We'll be back with you after a short 10-minute break to see how our next series between TNC and Neon does go. We'll see you then.